Good morning, Britannia, and hello to the rest of the world. Welcome to Tousi TV and this morning's brief, where we're bringing you guys the news headlines and the top stories that you might have missed over the last few hours. Let's talk about by discussing the Tory leadership election. We're going to talk about James Cleverly, one of the Tory candidates, and the former Home Secretary, former Foreign Secretary, and his refusal to apologise for mass migration. And we're also going to be talking about the Labour government. The Socialists are going to be making economic productivity much more difficult by giving more pay but less work to people. This is the beginning of the universal basic income days. Now, let's talk about Sweden as well. Of course, Sweden has a massive problem with Islamism, but of course the government are stepping up their game. Let's see what they are going to be doing. And going back to the UK, Keir Starmer's approval rating is not going too well as he becomes more authoritarian every single day. Now, let's start by talking about the Tory leadership candidates. James Cleverly specifically, he was interviewed by Christopher Hope on his podcast, and it's the same podcast that also interviewed Priti Patel, who was also, obviously, she's a former Home Secretary. She refused to apologise for defending and supporting mass legal migration. James Cleverly also refused to apologise for mass legal migration. It seems like they're all saying the exact same things, and they're not really ashamed of what the government did when the Tories were in power. The Tory party broke their own manifesto pledges at the 2010 general election, 2015, 2017, and also 2019, but there doesn't seem to be any urgency to make a difference. He said, "The reason I'm a bit hesitant to apologise is that I've spent my time as a minister defending the government on the airways. So you're now tired. You don't want to defend it anymore." First things first, if what he's saying is, or the government was bad and they just kept sending me around to defend them, then why were you part of it? If you are proud to defend them, then have you just lost your energy? You're too tired now, but then why are you standing as a Tory candidate? So these are the questions that a lot of the members of the Conservative Party need to ask, and of course people in the country as well. Now, going back to the other side, the Socialist government of Keir Starmer, more pay, less work. So Socialists are going to be forcing employers to pay more but demand less. So this is the first move towards doing a 4-day week. So essentially you will be working 4 days instead of 5. I mean, in the West, we generally work 5 days. In a number of other places around the world, they work 6 days. They have 1 day off, but we already have 2 days off anyway. But 5 apparently is too much to handle. People need more pay, employees, especially when it comes to the public sector, but they would require more pay, so that's going to go up anyway, but less work. But they're saying, as long as you get your work done, how can you actually check this? For example, civil servants are working from home. Are they actually working from home? No, because productivity is low. Anyway, they're also saying that currently, obviously, employees have the legal right to request flexible working, but there's no legal obligation on companies to agree. Obviously, it's a voluntary exchange between an employer and employee. You can negotiate, and if you're not happy, you can find an alternative. That's the whole point of free market. You could go and get a different job or go join a different company. But getting the big government, a nanny state, to get involved is completely chaotic. Now, Kevin Hollenrake, who is now the Shadow Business Secretary, says, despite warning after warning from industry, Angela Rayner is pressing ahead with her French-style union laws that will make doing business more expensive in the UK. And those who are coming out, those social democrats saying, what's wrong with this? If you can get things done within 4 days. See what's happened in France and also Spain. In these places where everything is becoming lazy, productivity is going down, and if it weren't for tourism and certain other things that they have, the whole economy will collapse. It's not a good idea. Now, Sweden, speaking of Europe, of course, Sweden has a massive Islamism problem, as you guys already know, but they are, just like Germany, slowly waking up, unlike the United Kingdom. The Deputy Prime Minister, Ebba Busch, has come out to say Islam must adapt to Swedish values. Muslims who do not integrate must leave the country. Honor killings, beheadings, stoning of women, Sharia have no place here in Sweden. It would be great if we have this sort of language from our Prime Minister in the United Kingdom. But of course, he's simply pandering to one side. Now, Salwan Momika, who some of you might already know, he is an Iraqi refugee who escaped Iraq and escaped Islamism because he's not a Muslim. He also was the one who became controversial for burning the book, the so-called holy book in Sweden. So Islamists came after him, and Sweden was trying to deport him. He's now said, "I am tired. The Swedish authorities have exhausted all my energy, but I will not give up, and I will not stop fighting Islam and the project of Islamizing the West until my last breath in my life, and I am ready to confront everyone." This is the man who's managed to survive Iraq. I don't think he's too scared to fight the same people in Europe. Now, coming back to the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister is not having a good time in office. He's getting triggered by portraits of former prime ministers. He's taking them down. And now his approval ratings has plummeted to -16. It's gone down. We're over 30 points now at this point. More pubs have now decided to ban the Prime Minister after his announcement to ban smoking outside. And of course, the far left MPs in the House of Commons are also preparing to fight the cabinet on the public sector cuts. So it seems like this socialist cabinets are managing to successfully to alienate all sides: the socialists, the liberals, and the conservatives. Ladies and gentlemen, these were your latest headlines from our morning brief, which comes to you guys every day at 11 a.m. UK time. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.